Okay, hello, good morning, or good evening, whatever. So, I realized that my normal style of videos is kind of like free form, thought form. Is that how you say that? Free form consciousness. Like, I just kind of talk. Oh, is that an offering right there? Period. And I don't know, I try to be motivational, but generally I'm just talking and then I add sprinkles of motivation. Because I was thinking, I wanted to just do one of those videos where I'm like, you're amazing and you're doing great and you need to just keep pushing and believe in yourself. But honestly, if I could just speak transparently, I feel like there are not many people who actually need that. You know what I mean? Because I feel like the people who want that sort of energy are the people who, like, and obviously if this doesn't fucking apply, don't let it fly, bitch. But like, the people who want that energy, who want to be uplifted and want to be motivated, are the people who aren't really doing anything to be motivated for. You know what I mean? Like, once again, I'm sure there are exceptions, you know? And then the people who need that sort of energy are the ones who are doing it for themselves and don't need somebody else to do it. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you know, because sometimes I watch videos like that. Sometimes I line with tarot readers who read like that, who are like, you're doing awesome, all the work that you're doing is not going in vain, you're amazing. And sometimes I read like that. And, you know, I, I don't know. I feel like that style of content is not really necessary. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Because I enjoy it once again. Sometimes it's nice to be told that I'm doing well. Sometimes it's nice to have a pat on the back. But I don't know. I don't know. Like, on here at least, it's hard for me to really gauge who's watching my videos because I don't really get consistent views like I do on TikTok. Also, shout out to TikTok. If you go to the link tree down below, it's somewhere, like, you have to scroll a while to find it, but it's, my TikTok is there. So I was talking about in one of the previous videos that I have published, most of these videos that you'll be seeing for the next couple of months will probably be scheduled. Like, because I used to have a habit of posting same day as I was recording, and I'm trying not to do that as much for various reasons. And so you're watching this in September, probably like mid-September, but I recorded this back in August, like late August. And I don't know, like, I'm thinking about my relationship with money because I've been trying to get better at managing money, and it has been a struggle for sure. And I think it sucks that there are people in the world who can't just fucking mind their business. People who think that it's their right or their business to know how other people are, like, doing financially. You know what I mean? Like, people, like, I don't know. Like, and I'm not saying that these people are malicious. I'm not saying that all of these people are bad or whatever. But I do get a lot of people sometimes coming into my live streams, people that I used to know, people that I used to interact with, people that I used to have rapport with, come in and be like, hey, how are you? Well, I'm obviously in a relatively good mood, and it's like, or it doesn't even matter what kind of mood I'm in the moment. It's just like, you can see that I'm in a whatever mood I'm in, you know? And it's like, to me, it's pretty obvious that these people are just like monitoring. They're just trying to gauge where I'm at. And maybe that's not a malicious thing inherently. A lot of people like to talk about monitoring spirits, and I think there's truth to that. I think there's truth to that for sure. But, like, you know, because then they won't even like the fucking live. They won't even contribute to the live otherwise. And then if I tell them genuinely how I'm doing, sometimes their response is like mute, and I'm like, what was the point of fucking asking me? What was the point of asking me? Oh my god, I was watching this movie recently, Frequencies. I don't think I finished it because I'm not in the mode of watching TV right now, of like getting hooked in plots. But I was watching this movie called Frequencies, made in 2013 or whatever. And there was this thing that they did, like, my high brain ass, and I say high as in like high functioning, not high as in stoned, but there was a thing that they did, the really smart people, the really high vibing people, they would, actually I think it was all of the people, I don't know, it was an interesting movie, because it was a movie about frequencies and how everybody was inherently born with a specific frequency, and that frequency was made public. Like, you knew the information, and it basically determined your entire life. Like, it was kind of like classism, but for like frequencies, vibrations. Like, it's an interesting concept. And there was a thing that they did that I thought was really funny, where sometimes somebody would ask a question, like, those questions that we ask in passing, like, how are you? How's your day? What's going on? And then the person answering would respond and be like, pleasant conversation or genuine concern? And then they would respond, they'd be like, pleasant conversation. And they'd be like, oh, I'm fine, how are you? Or they would be like, no, genuine concern. And then they would go on and be like, yeah, no, I'm actually not doing that great right now. And like, I thought that was really cool how they like had that sort of back and forth, the dialogue. Like, oh my God. Like, because we do a lot of pleasantries on this planet. And sometimes people don't even give a fuck. It's like, how are you? Bitch, you don't give a fuck. You're just asking me to exchange energy, which is not inherently bad, once again. But as a person who tries to be like real and like truthful and honest all the time, or most of the time when it's possible, because if it's not really super duper possible to be super duper truthful all the time and also be safe, because unfortunately the truth is not safe in this world. But yeah, that's the thing that irritates me. I'm like, why are you asking me how I'm doing if you don't even care? You know what I mean? Because then I'll say like good, or like, or maybe usually I'll just say good, because like, like, we're not even talking face to face. It's not that deep. Like, you know what I mean? Like, one thing about it, what's really funny? I'm just walking back and forth in the cemetery. I hope nobody's just like watching me. But one thing that's really funny to think about is how I used to identify really heavily with like social anxiety, and how I used to really like be afraid to interact with people, and how also I'm a fucking Gemini with a lot of fucking Virgo and a Libra ascendant. Like, literally, like, if you look at my astrology makeup, I'm literally meant to be socializing. I'm meant to be like, you know what I mean? Communicating, sharing, teaching. And it's so funny to think about my progress, and like how I used to be terrified. Like, I legitimately used to have a friend who I would have her order for me. I would have her talk to cashiers and stuff for me, because I just did not want to sometimes. I was, And looking back on it, I think it was a mix of me picking up on other people being intimidated by me, like, which is really interesting to think about, because even looking back with the eyes that I have now for who I am and how I show up, it's really weird to think that other people would be so intimidated by me because I'm attractive, because I look a certain way. It's so interesting to think that way, because I don't think about it that way. I don't look at myself. I took a lot of pictures as a child. Like, to some degree, I was a little bit obsessed with myself, but I also took a lot of pictures of the sunset and the sunrise and the ocean and other things, So it's like, I just like pretty things, and I guess I'm one of them, right? But whether or not it was because of aesthetic, whether or not it was because of like spiritual energy, it's just interesting to think how some people could be so intimidated by somebody, and that's really what I believe. I believe that it was me empathically picking up that they were scared to talk to me for whatever reason, and I feel like that's a lot of what social anxiety is. Like, my firm belief, we can agree to disagree, you can feel however you fucking feel. I don't give a fuck if you're like a licensed whatever. And I'm sure if you are a licensed psychologist, you'd probably agree with me if you actually know your material. But like, anxiety and depression and most mental health stuff is not an internal thing. It is a direct response. And I'm saying this as a belief. I'm not saying this as fact, but this is my belief. It is a direct response to the environment that you are in, to the people that you are surrounding yourself with, to the energy that you are taking in. And so, when you, like, for anybody out there who is diagnosed with those things, or who is experiencing those things, a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, please fucking take stock of the environments that you're in and the people that you're surrounding yourself with, and be fucking honest with yourself. Like, are these people safe spaces? Are these people energy? I'm trying to fucking find the words to say it. Are these people that you can actually trust? You know what I mean? Like, the human mind is very complex, I will say that. But it's also very simple in the way that its needs are very, very simple. We need love, we need food, water, you know what I mean? And the love part is a really big thing that we kind of gloss over, really. in a collective sense. Like, we understand it, the hierarchy of needs, but then we don't actually provide them. It's like, I think the basis is like food, shelter, and water, but you still have to pay for that. You still, and like, I'm sure there are people who argue with me and be like, well, you should have to earn it. And to some degree, maybe, but then it's just like, as a society, it's like, you know, sure, there are homeless shelters, sure, there are different institutions that help, but it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, because then when you not incorporate, I'm trying to think of the word, when you implement, not the right word, when you also add the notion that there are people in the world who are just lacking in love and who are so vindictive and so malicious, and also in positions of power, in positions to give people jobs and give people housing, is like, okay, like, what are we doing here? Because if these people have the authority, have the power to grant you housing or not, you know what I mean? And it's like, because I knew a landlord once. I lived with a landlord, and that man, no shade to that man, but that man was not a good person. He was not a good landlord, and he was not a good person, point blank period. He was very generous. He was very convincing to a lot of people, I'm sure. But for me, as a person who sees right through shit, I'm like, this bitch is not a good person at all, bitch. What the fuck? And I could be ashamed to say that I also dated him. But like, but it was completely out of survival, guys. It was completely out of survival. Anytime I've ever dated somebody like that, it was completely out of survival. But anyways, I digress. The point with that one is that we live in a very corrupt world. And for a lot of people, when you have good intentions, when you have genuinely, like, when you're trying to actually, you know, contribute something positive to the world, there are a lot of people, unfortunately, who are drenched in ego, drenched in distortion, and will, like, do everything that they can to stop you because of their distortions, because of their misdirected perception of the world. That was a sometimes, you know, since I'm talking about perception, I've talked about this in a TikTok video recently. I think it's so funny. I think it's so interesting because this is just how I talk. This is just who I am. And I've record videos all the time talking like this. And sure, sometimes I can code switch. Sometimes, sure, I can, like, switch it up and dialect switch and all that. But, like, it's so interesting to think that there are people out there who would, once again, be intimidated by the way that I talk. Like, I've had people in the past tell me that I talk white. It doesn't happen anymore, but it used to happen when I was in high school. People would be like, you talk so white, you talk so proper. And, like, it's crazy because I'm just talking. This is just my natural, this is just how I fucking talk. This is how I appreciate talking. You know what I mean? Like, I sometimes swear if I'm really feeling energetic and amped up. But, like, I just have a really big vocabulary. I like to read, I like to learn. And so I just say a lot of things that are, but I'm not just fucking saying the words. I'm not just, you know what I mean? Because there are people in the world, unfortunately, who pretend and, like, just use big words just to sound smart. And I've met these people, and it is very obvious to me. I don't know if it's obvious to other people, but it's very obvious to me when people are using words they don't even know what they're fucking talking about. You know, like, and that also takes me back to another thought that I was thinking about acting and actors. And, like, I think acting really is about feeling. Like, you have to really make yourself believe. You know what I mean? Like, and I think, unfortunately, those are who the best liars are. The people who convince themselves of their lies. The people who really feel into their lies. Like, even if they don't believe the lies, they still have the feelings around it. They have the shame. They have the guilt. They have the, you know, whatever emotion is necessary for their lie. You know what I mean? Did I just put somebody on how to lie better? I hope not. Lying is bad. Please don't ever lie, ever in your life. Even if your hands get chopped off, don't ever lie. Anyways, to be quite honest, this is one of those videos where I only recorded this because I wanted to feel like I was being productive. I was watching a tarot video, and I do believe in the sentiment of, like, create more than you consume. And I don't think I'm at that space right now. Maybe at some point I was, or maybe I am, actually, because I do a lot of typing. I underestimate myself a lot. But 1444, sorry. That, whatever. Anyways, But yeah, you should be creating, like if you're already a creative person, if you are, you should be creating relatively daily. Like, and for me, I use creativity as a means of creating my reality, which maybe that's common for the average creative. I don't know. I think a lot of people use creativity as just a means of like expressing how they feel. A lot of people use creativity for different reasons, but once again, I use it a lot of the times to create my reality, you know? I thought there was a car behind me. I had to look behind me. There ain't no car. I don't know. Like, for example, I wrote this one song called, what is it? Sweet Escape. And it's supposed to be a projection of where I want to be. And it's supposed to be about me escaping the current living situation that I'm in and like getting to better. And it's from that perspective of like I've already gotten past it. I've already moved past. Nobody's listened to it, by the way. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. It's in the link tree down below, I think. I'm pretty sure. If you want to listen to it, you don't have to. But I enjoy my own music. I don't need the validation. I don't need people to tell me that my music is good. Occasionally people will tell me, and I think they're usually kissing up. I think they're kissing ass or whatever. But I like my music. I make music because I like making music, because it's fun. I've always liked making music. Like even when I was younger, whenever I had the ability to, whenever I had access to it, because I did have a computer, I did have Audacity. I miss Audacity. I don't have the ability to have Audacity on my computer, but Audacity is the shit. And I would just record vocals and just record stuff, and it was a good time. And in the last couple of years, I've been getting back to that. I've been getting back to recording, and it's been a while. It's been a couple months since I've recorded. The last 2 songs that I did, I worked on for quite a while, and then I just released them. And I've written a lot of other lyrics. I've been writing lyrics and stuff, but just haven't been recording because that's a whole different energy. And to be quite honest, to be quite transparent, like for me at least, sometimes it's very uncomfortable to say, like, one thing I've realized about myself is that I have the ability to, like, when I'm talking to somebody, when I'm using my words to express something, like real time, I have the ability to, like, before I even say it, I have the ability to perceive how it will be taken. And I don't think this is a rare trait. I'm not saying this to be like, oh, I'm some super mutant freak. I'm just saying that this is something I've noticed that I can do. Like sometimes, like before I say something, like if I'm thinking of saying something, I'll feel before I say it, I'll be like, this is probably how they're going to react to what I'm about to say. And I think I have a good job. I think I do a good job of like differentiating other people's feelings from my own feelings more often than not. Sometimes, I don't know. But it's a thing, like I can be like, oh, if I say this, then they'll probably feel this way. And so let me not say this because I don't want to do that, you know, or let me say this because I want to, you know what I mean? And so when it comes to singing as well, like I tend to get very vulnerable in my songs. Like even the more upbeat tracks, I get very vulnerable. I get very raw, you know? And for me to be singing those things, knowing that there are people around me who don't really fuck with me like that, or at least that's how I perceive it, because I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they don't fuck with me. I'm pretty sure they don't really like the fact that I'm so free and like am able to do whatever I want. I don't think they enjoy that, but that's none of my business, bitch, because the fuck? I wish you felt this way. I wish you had the freedom to do whatever you wanted. The fuck? It's sad that you don't think that you have the freedom. You know what I mean? Like, and that's, to boil it down, that's the biggest thing about having haters, because I be feeling so bad for these people. I'm like, why do you hate your life so much that you need to put hate into my life? Why, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry even that you hate yourself, but now that it's directed towards me, it's just like, bitch, fuck you. Like, because I want you to feel free. I want you to feel good about yourself, but like, not at my expense. Not if you feeling good about yourself is bringing me down. The fuck? The fuck? Like, I don't know. I said a lot in this video. I kind of went all over the place. Remember, miracles happen all the time. No storm lasts forever. Jesus does love you. And stay hydrated. Bye.